Hi, I'm Nina Gigele and this is Skiersmindset Talk. I'm here to interview and talk with athletes, pros, mentor coaches, entrepreneurs, and many more who relate to skiing. Together, we want to improve our mindset in skiing and also in business life. Woo! Hi, Daron. It's so cool to have you here.
Thanks,
Based
Nina.
in Tahoe at the moment. And I'm happy to have you back here at the Skiersmindset podcast because, basically we started it a couple years ago over COVID when we both were sitting in our rooms, bored, not talking and being able to ski. And then we kept talking about it. How are you doing?
Yeah, and I dropped in on that Travis Ganong session you guys had.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
cool.
No,
He's living his
it's
life in Japan at the moment.
yeah, he's taking that ski racers like travel kind of mindset and just like nonstop, movement to like out of Tahoe, all over the world. He was in Austria, hung out with him in Kitzbühel. Now he's in Japan. He's coming back for the World Cup that we have here coming up end of the month, February. So I'm these days for me, I just want to be rooted as much as possible at home. And luckily this month I'm here, and we're just Tahoe is firing right now. It's so good. We had a really late season start with snow. It was really warm and dry, and then we finally kind of got a good turnaround this last week. And every day it's been like storm skiing, and today it's cracked blue. So fired up to get out there in a little bit.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so
Yep.
cool. I'm gonna soon visit you. That's just a side note for you not to
Yeah.
forget, Darren.
Yeah. Looking forward to showing you around a little bit out here.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
For all the listeners in Skiersmindset Talk, I like to talk about mindset and mental strength. And I'm curious, you were so successful in ski racing. I remember you were like one of our role models when we were trying to become athletes. And then you kind of turned your career from an alpine ski racer to ski crosser, free riding, big mountain skiing, just send it. How was it? Was that like a big change in your mind?
I just felt like I did retire on my own terms. I was like skiing fast. I was healthy, and it was hard for me to stop and just like quit ski racing. The reason I did it was because I was just kind of getting tired of just the travel and, on the road 8 months out of the year. That was tough. And I was married a couple of years before that, and it was just about like, let's start a family. So there's a few other things I wanted to do. But the last year I raced, I won Beaver Creek, I won Bormio, I won Bengen, third in Kitzbühel. It was just rocking. And everybody's like, how can you stop now? And I just felt like I put everything I had into that last season as like 100% focus and like really soaking up and just taking advantage of every experience. And I jumped into ski cross and some like big mountain skiing with MSP. And that to me was a new challenge. And I had others just saying, whoa, like, what are you doing? Are you going to go ski cross and taint your reputation as one of the best ski racers around? I'm like, how's that? Like, well, you're going to get your ass kicked, out there. And I was like, you know what? Even if I am not competitive, which I think I can be competitive, but it's still a challenge I want to step up to. And I think that's my whole mindset in my life was like trying to like, find a challenge and take it down. And for me, for example, like my size is not the traditional like size for a downhiller. I'm more of like a GS kind of like, skier size and super G. And those are my two strengths. And I had one of the guys that ran the race program on the ski saying that I shouldn't even bother, put any effort in a downhill because I'd have no chance of being competitive. So that was kind of a way for me to like let the fire a little more. And downhill is just the ultimate. It is the ultimate in like thrill and fun. So I wanted to focus on that. And so from that early on in ski racing, I was able to step up through all these challenges and coming into the ski cross and big mountain kind of like try to like always ski a big face like I would in ski racing. But it's tough because there's so many variables. And I've never really hit like a line top to bottom like I would in a ski race just because there's so many unknowns. I don't think it's possible. but I've had a lot of fun doing all these. When you move from one to the next, it's like, I love skiing so much. I love being outdoors. I need to try and find ways to still be involved. And it's a number of things now, like coaching youth in ski racing. I do a camp in early, like November in Copper, then one in American Downhiller camp in Mammoth in May. And I just up on the hill and jump in and do some forerunning or some training once in a while with some of these from college down to like U16 kids. And then like trying to, also like get some of that, like that buzz going again with going to film and shoot some stuff. So it's fun to still have these little moments where I feel these little sparks, and bam, like stuff just lights me up, and I can still get a few of those.
Those sparks are the essential ones, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's living, right?
Yeah, totally. And is it like, I mean, like going from downhill racing to ski across to big mountain skiing, it's like starting 3 different companies. And like, right, did you always keep the same like preparation, like in front of a start gate? Like, did you have like a mental routine? You like when you're on top of the mountain or on top of the Streif, on top of the ski across, which I think is slightly different because you have other people to compete with at the same time. Did you always do the same routine, or did you adjust it? How was it for you?
No, I mean, I pretty much stuck with the same routine because I knew what, physically and mentally worked for me. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely went way more like, put more effort into ski racing, obviously. And the other stuff was more fun, but I still want to be competitive. So I wasn't like preparing as much, for ski cross or big mountain, but I still was putting some time in. And I think the mental imagery aspect is such a huge benefit. And I really practice that a lot in ski racing. Through the summertime, like I'd watch like, 5 of my favorite downhill races, like throughout the summer, and just like run through that, those races and watch some footage who was fast there and run the track through my head. And I think it really like for ski racing, like you'll like get yourself at that moment and then like flash through, like this run. You're pretty much like way faster than you are in reality. So what I tried to do is like be as realistic as possible and put a clock to that when I was doing imagery to see how close I could get to the actual race run.
Interesting.
Because then you're in as real time as you can be. And I kind of took that, I wasn't timing my runs in AK, but I was trying to be as realistic with like, how long the turn would take and this and that, like to put something together. And I tell you, it's a little easier when you see something and you decide on the spot what you're going to do, as opposed to like see a big line and then it's not quite ready and you wait like a day or two because it's simmering, right? And you're going to bed thinking about it. You wake in the middle of the night, your hands are sweating. And I've had a few of those, and I had one of these like just epic lines up in Alaska with TGR, and we saw it after a storm, and I didn't feel comfortable with it, and we bypassed it and waited for the next day for it to kind of like consolidate and set up a little more, and because there's some consequences below, and I had to go skiers right. It was a split, and the next day. Seth Morrison was there, Dash Long, and Sage, and all those guys skied other lines, and everything held up fine. So I felt like, okay, with a day of healing with the snowpack, 3 other guys that skied some lines. This is like the little more critical one, but I had some like good information I felt safe with, and halfway down the line, the thing snapped on me and took me off the direction I did not want to go. And but I was like thinking about that, like for like these runs, thinking like, why am I here? What am I doing this for? But like that ultimate like feeling at the bottom is the payoff. I've had a few that worked out great, but this one didn't. But I'll tell you, in that situation, you're trying to kind of like, okay, I've done all this homework. I've like, I know exactly what my, moves are. And, like in ski racing, you improvise if something goes wrong. And in big mountain skiing, the same thing. Ski cross, I mean, a lot of stuff is going out of your plan because of the different guys you're racing, your competitors you're up against. But I loved all those aspects. I love those challenges. And I'd say in the start, like for me, it was right at the top of a mountain and really trying to just breathe heavy and kind of clear my head, because I know what to do inside. I'm like on autopilot, and then you just like rely on your skills to take over. But you have all this stuff like that you've rehearsed to like just go out there and execute. And I don't want to think about too much of that stuff right before I go. I'm just kind of like breathing and getting fired up, and just trying to like be just fully like focused and channel kind of that energy to go.
So that's sort of like because that happens within seconds. You need to decide when something doesn't go right. Yeah, it's just a few seconds. When I'm out guiding, and I just the other day I was exploring and it didn't work out well, and then I intentionally had to stay resilient on top of the mountain with my clients. It didn't work out well, but then I just had to decide. I had like a few minutes. I wasn't like super stressed. But in your case, in Alaska, you're not the right line you want to go to. You just have to decide within seconds whether what you do. Like, there is no, oh, maybe I try this or I keep exploring those two options. It's like either way.
Yeah, it happens quick,
That's
and you have to have you gotta have a backup plan. We call it a plan. You have the plan A, which you're gonna go for, and if something changes, you have a plan B. Especially like thinking about like snow conditions, if something like rips out, like where's your island safety? Where are you gonna exit? And you gotta go quickly to that spot. So you already have that kind of in the back of your head as like the backup plan to in your case, like guiding, being responsible for others is even harder. And I've done a few just like of those moments. I take people like friends out even to a new place, and I'm kind of leading, and it's like, I mean, one, I want to be safe, but like I'm really focusing on the others, and that's hard. I mean, but like I think when you come to those spicy situations and everything works out, those are the things that you remember a lot more than an easy day,
It's like like it broadens your comfort zone, right? And it's also like what you were just saying, and it's the same for me. You need to be prepared. You need to have plan A, plan B. Like you have to like, what's the worst happens? I have to do that, and it's like that preparation and be prepared what happens and know exactly what you do, trusting yourself. Like it also like comes back to your inner mind, like because and everywhere you have to adjust, but you're just probably so adjustable and so successful because you are able to put yourself in these challenges.
Yeah,
because
I mean, physically, I've had so much like training over my course of my career, and I can rely on a lot of like those instinctual moves. And I think it's like, and one thing I have on my side is going fast. So if I need to straight line something and get out of there, like I pretty much know I can handle it, or you just fight to do it. And I trained to a level where I was above and beyond where I'd physically ever be, like off season. So I knew I could handle more than like what it was thrown at me. But I was still like, I mean, you're crushed at the bottom. It hurts. Your legs are on fire. Your lungs, like you're just all your power is gone. But it's like that mental strength of continuing to push is such a huge factor. And I think that's kind of where my strength was in ski racing. And it helps like these days, it's like skiing on the mountains. And when you have to pull something off, these days, like in any kind of skiing, like I know that like, if there's a critical move, like what my body's capable of doing. And so I wish I had more time to train like I did in the past, but it's just it's just part of where I'm at in life. But I was just talking to a buddy of mine on the chair on 𝐤𝐞22. You'll be on that soon. Palisades, Tahoe. It is like they call it the mothership. But to knock off nonstops like throughout the day, it's tough. I mean, it's good vertical, a lot of killer terrain, rocks, chutes. Like there's all kinds of fun stuff right now, especially because we haven't had a huge winter. We had so much terrain in play with like the lower tide conditions that there's like all kinds of features out there. So I tell you, it's a lot of fun to be rallying the mountain and have that like top to bottom push and still stay with it. Just kind of knowing that's physically you're gonna get good. You can get good and strong if you can keep skiing like that.
Is it like what would you say to somebody, because I meet a lot of people who are very, wait a second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. So, I was right there last week.
Yeah, me, I have it
the
since.
Dry cough.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
Anyways, so like when you have like these, I mean, a lot of people tell me like they're so overestimated, they're so exhausted, they don't know where to go, they don't want to push their boundaries. But like, what keeps you motivated to still be on that challenge and still like, okay, I try to get to the next step?
The motivation is just like, satisfaction of new challenges and just like, like I said before, like feeling alive, like just pushing yourself so you feel alive. And then just, there's other aspects. I'd say still I'm really physical these days, like being in the mountains, but then also trying to figure out ways to like work with brands and I'm not filming anymore. I'm not competing, I go for some photo shoots and kind of represent some brands in different ways. But like, the challenge of just of like trying to find ways to make products better that I'm skiing on, that I'm happy with. And that's going to transfer over. It's going to transfer over to the regular recreational skier. But it's just, there's a constant reevaluation of yourself and just trying to figure out ways to continue. And I think I'm figuring out a pretty good way to do it these days. And now what's fun is like my kids, they're 16 years old. They got twins, a boy and a girl. My boy's racing and doing free skiing. He's like stepped into this like free ride world where there's such a good like head to head sort of they're feeding off each other, all these kids, they're stepping up like crazy with all these tricks and everything. And he's doing the ski racing as well and trying to balance the two sides, and he's just having fun out there. And my daughter, she's coaching these little kids, so I think there's a great like I guess foundation I've built for them, and they love skiing, and then they've evolved in different ways, like what Dre's doing with racing and free ride, and what Miley's doing with like coaching and then skiing with friends. I think it's just, skiing to me is, I want to be able to ski with these, my own children for a lot of years ahead, and that's really important to me. So I love that they're loving the time in the mountains.
What would you like, all those people, like, I mean, skiing is not a sport which will increase the next years, but what would you like, why should people start skiing?
People should start skiing because it's one of the most amazing, feelings out there, just like physically, but also in the mountains. I mean, since like COVID, you see the explosion of like backcountry equipment, from all these manufacturers coming out, and like the sales and everything. Like a lot of people have this incredible equipment nowadays to go enjoy themselves, not just at the ski resorts, but like immerse themselves more in the mountains and Mother Nature. And I think it's such a special experience. Like there's days where all I want to do is ski resort. I want to take a lot of laps and just put all my energy in going downhill. But there's other days where I just want to go for a hike and get out there and go for quality and see something new and get away from, most of the people around. And I'm really fortunate to live in the area in Northern California here around Lake Tahoe, where you're above these, you're on these lines, Lake Tahoe, which looks like tropical water. It's like all the sand and granite rock around the shoreline, and it's a huge lake. And just to see that kind of, acreage of water just below you on a line is incredible. So I think that just, it fills your soul. It makes you feel so good. And it's caught on quite a bit. So it's harder and harder to find, but you just got to go early, try and beat the crowds.
You were just saying, like, do you have anything on your bucket list where you would love to ski?
My bucket list, like, I want to ski more in my backyard, which I call Tahoe, the surrounding area of my backyard. So there's a lot of stuff around here that I want to ski. I always love going up to Haines, Alaska. So I have 2 trips planned to go up there, middle of March and early April.
Oh.
And, I love being in Austria. So I kind of get my fix during the Hanukkah. A couple days before that, I didn't really tag on any extra days to do much. I mean, it wasn't like great skiing, but I miss going up to the Arlberg. I want to get out in St. Anton again. You know, that's a good place to be. That's why you've rooted yourself there. And
I agree.
and it's yeah, just to be around just different terrain and experience something new is it's always fun. I really don't have like a set spot like I want to go there. I get more just like I just want to go anywhere where there's good snow and a lot of terrain. And we have that right now here in Tahoe, so I don't want to be anywhere but this place at home.
Cool. Yeah, that's great to hear. It's like when you like see your kids skiing and you know they do racing and off-piste and every type of this. Would you wish that they are also becoming an athlete, or would you just like let them experience and like see and get the most out of skiing in general, or how do you see that?
I just want them to
Because you know
experience
with
it.
all the pressure and
Yeah, I
stuff
mean,
you went through.
I could tell you. I mean, Michelle and I started our kids in the ski racing program just to give them a good foundation. And you know, they raced until she was 14 years old, and she just felt too much pressure, right? And I think maybe it does trickle down from me, or it does, you know, because she was getting comments from friends or even coaches saying you should be better than you are, faster. You should be really fast because your dad's like, you know, such a great ski racer. But I think that was like horrible, you know, for her to hear that and already put this expectations on top of her. And so she backed away from skiing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It was horrible. Like I would, you know, I got upset of, you know, hearing that stuff back, that feedback from her. And Dre feels it too. You know, he's got so much talent, but like he's not on the track to be a ski racer up there. I mean, it takes so much dedication and so much work, and on talent alone, he can hang in there. But now at his age, first year FIS, like there's a lot of other guys that are putting a lot of time in. They're fully focused on racing, training, all this, you know, this mental like training as well. He's just having fun. And bottom line is like, I think it's great as an individual athlete in competition to feel those emotions and like how you handle that and how you overcome. I mean, we've all had ups and downs. We've all had struggles, and you know, it's a challenge to stay on point on the top and be really competitive, because it's a roller coaster ride. Those emotional swings of like feeling like shit and just like, you know, finding ways to climb back out of that and the reset. And I think for me, like just writing down stuff, like journaling about certain things, so I can go back to like, you know, highlight sort of day training or a competition and just see kind of like how I, you know, felt that day and just basically like ground myself again. And I think you get in a rut, we call it, like just, you know, down in a deep hole, and it's not easy to climb yourself out of those. But I think if you have like past, like just, I mean, writing stuff down, just it's so good to kind of ways to express yourself and share things for yourself to go back to learn from and reset.
That's actually like I've never heard it in that way, but I really appreciate it that you shared that, because my next question would be, did you ever feel like you're a bad person because you failed in ski racing?
I didn't feel like I was a bad person. I would just be, yeah, I'd feel sick to my stomach, you know, or just it really got to me because you put a lot of effort into something. You tend to have higher expectations of results, and but like I came to the point where I finally started focusing on just like the run, and now it can be competitive, and knowing that's pretty powerful. I'd say very powerful. That if you put your best effort down, it could be an awesome run. But I'm going out there for a feeling, and ski racing is so much like time. You know, it's just about the time on the clock and where you finish. But if you can like get to the bottom and feel like, hey, I put everything into it, I could not have done any more. I had no regrets, you know, of the way I skied. It just didn't work out. Then ultimately you got to be satisfied with yourself. I mean, my last season, 2006, I was lined up to win the Olympic gold in downhill, with those 3 wins I mentioned before, coming to it, third in 𝐞𝐥𝐲. I won that same track 2 years before that, so I knew it was a really good hill for me. and I had a crazy situation in the starting gate where I had skis swapped out on me like a minute before I kicked out of the gate. And I came down, I felt like I skied well, and I was off pace, and I was so mad. And, you know, it was like that little like change up cost me. And, you know, it's like still like, I wish that didn't happen because, yeah, it would have been a different result that day for me. But really looking back, like I gave everything I could have, like prepped myself as well as I could. There's a few things where kind of like I was thrown off about the day before, but there was a lot of pressure. And as an American, like the Olympics is the big deal. Like we were talking earlier, like I've won a number of World Cups, and I have more recognition in the U.S. for winning a ski cross X Games gold, you know, in my hometown than I did for World Cup because they saw it on TV. It was all over the place on ESPN, this and that. But for a ski racer, the Olympics is huge, you know, and especially in America because everybody pays attention to the sport at that time. You know, what I'm most proud of is obviously like a win in 𝐞𝐴𝐴 and a win in Bangin, like on the big tracks, the classics. And just because it's an Olympic race, that hill is not like those are the two hills. Like, and so I wanted to be challenged, and I wanted to perform on the best stage possible, and that's what I'm most proud of those races on the World Cup, and having consistency with the ones I love. I mean, Beaver Creek, Bormio, Bangin, 𝐞𝐴𝐴, my 5 most, you know, fun favorite races. I was on the podium a number of times at each, and so having that consistency and wins at all those was incredible. But I think I guess going back to the individual, you know, pressure as not a team player, but like you're an individual, you know, athlete in skiing, it's there's a lot of like pressure you got to learn to deal with. And if you take away the results, take away all that stuff, and just, hey, I want to have fun. I've done all my prep work. Let's go out and execute and see what I got. I think those are the best like takeaways in life. And
Cool.
it transfers. Sport transfers to business. Sport transfers to you know, relationships. For me, you know, sport's easier. There's other ones that put so much into it, but you know, you learn. You can take a lot of things from sports that make you a better person.
Also in business, you mean? Cool.
So
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Nina, thanks.
Cool.
I mean, I'm just really fortunate to be still involved in skiing like I am these days. And, you know, I love dipping back into the racing scene and, you know, go to Beaver Creek, Birds of Prey, go to 𝐞𝐴𝐴. Palisades Tahoe's coming up for the World Cup, and to meet people there. And we have a really strong ski racing base here in Tahoe. So a lot of kids like are fired up that, you know, we have these races back here, and it's a way for me to kind of connect with my past, and you know, definitely bummed. Like, this has been a tough season for a lot of the top athletes. You know, so many injuries, and
Yes.
you know what? We did this American Downhill podcast. We just had 𝐁𝐚𝐜𝐤 on, and his ski technician was my guy for the last couple of years from Atomic, Thomas Bergler. And since 𝐞𝐲's out, you know, they're both not coming to Tahoe. So, I mean, I kind of miss out, like, and I didn't see him in 𝐞𝐴𝐴 either because he was hurt before 𝐞𝐴𝐴. So those are the connections I'm going to miss out on, not seeing Tom and hanging out with him a little bit, or, you know, seeing Alex. But I really stay tuned into the racing world still, and love meeting like all the current racers and the new kids coming up, and firing them up. And we threw down with a good celebration in the Londoner, and, you know, just to share that, like, that time. And I got there a little too late though, because Odermatt was in there as well, and he left before I showed up. And then Florian, you know, was second the first day on Friday downhill. He was in there, so it was like collectively so much energy, and all these like amazing, like, you know, athletes that were hanging out and just celebrating. That's kind of takes me back to my time. I mean, I was in there with Kjetil André Almat and Luc Alphon and Danny Marr and Didier Couch and the Canadians, the Americans, and it just, like, that to me is still fun to share those experiences and you know, celebrate what, you know, those big moments. So it is a great community.
It's a
you know,
community which keeps you motivated to return and stay within the community, right?
Yeah, and then just like beyond the athletes too, all the industry guys, from the
Yeah.
brands and with this and just even people that like my buddy Chevy that owns like Simple Food and Drink there in Kitzbühel, see him and Axel Naglish to just go to dinner with him and catch up with that guy. It's like I've built a lot of amazing relationships through my time in ski racing and sport, and it's fun to kind of see those guys, even if it's just once a year. But those are the special experiences. So yeah,
It's amazing.
thanks for having me on, and excited for your time out here to check out what we got in Tahoe.
Thank you so much for that inspiring talk. It was great to listen to you, sharing some of your personal insights, which is always very valuable. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Tahoe. Thank
All
you.
right.
Ciao, ciao.
See you later. See ya.